Welcome to a very special episode of Two Beers and a Mic. Today we will be talking about the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. It finished in a way I or Stone never would have expected. Our brackets were definitely busted there.
Immediately.
We're thinking very low percentage of wins on what we predicted there, but that's what makes March Madness so fun. We're going to talk about some worst bathroom experiences, a Deep Ellum, our last beer that we will be trying in our Deep Ellum series, and we will end it all off with a top 3 of dad fit checks. This episode of Two Beers and a Mic is brought to you by Business Solutions Technology. Any printer or toner needs, visit businesssolutionstechnology.com. This is Two Beers and a Mic. Here we go.
Hey guys,
How you doing there, bud?
doing all right? How you doing?
Making it?
I'm making it.
Yeah.
Some days are better than others,
I feel you there.
but we're doing good. We're doing good.
Good.
Here we are, though.
Yeah, we're here again. Trying to stay, consistent with our recording schedule.
Yeah.
Obviously we have day jobs, that take us away from time to time, but our goal is to be as consistent as possible with this.
Right.
And so, we try our best some days, but some weeks, things get crazy and things get hectic. But here we are at 10:15 p.m., about ready to record.
The grind.
Grind
is
so
real.
We could get one in. But how about a crazy start to this Sweet 16? I mean, I think before we get involved with that, I'm gonna need a beer. So why don't we
crack one open?
Why don't we crack this one open for a nice beer review? Today we are cracking open the Deep Ellum IPA. Their main beer over at Deep Ellum Brewing Company is the last beer that we'll be trying in the Deep Ellum series. First thoughts before we even pull it out of the fridge.
Not an IPA fan, so we're gonna have high hopes, but it's just something about them, man. I've never been a fan, but like I said, we're gonna look at the glass half full.
There we go.
We'll see.
I think like the best part about these beer reviews is we are able to try new things because like I would say I'm very repetitive in what I like to try and what I drink, and you never know. I mean,
absolutely.
We'll be, like the last one. I mean,
beer. Your grandpa drinking
yes,
beer.
The generic beer brand. But the last one that we tried was very good. The Dallas Blonde.
It was. Took us by surprise. Huh?
I had never drinking that one. At least, I might have taken a sip here or there of maybe someone saying you should try this. But other than that, I was very surprised, and we gave that a whopping 4.5 out of 5 rating. Yeah. So let's grab this Deep Ellum IPA out of the good old SOK sponsored fridge.
Yeah, buddy. It has taken me a collective of 2.5 or 3 years now to put that many stickers on that fridge, because at one point I gave it to your fiance and my sister, and she just took all my stickers off, man.
It's just like, don't mess with another man's stickers.
Right. Come on.
I mean, that should be, I think that's like the 11th commandment.
Right.
Don't mess with another man's stickers.
It's a very well-spoken and known rule.
Absolutely. Well, let's check out this artwork here on this Deep Ellum IPA. This one's a little higher, 7% alcohol by volume. So if you haven't had anything to eat in the last couple of hours, this one, one can might get you a little going. It's over the top tropical fruit, citrus, pine, and floral aromas, which is one of the reasons I like it a lot, because it's not one of those super weedy IPAs. It's definitely one of those lighter ones, even though it is so heavy.
Right.
But I like the citrus. I think this is a citrusy toned IPA, and that's what makes it one of my favorites. But yeah, I think we're rocking. If we can,
artwork is still dope as always.
Zoom in on the can there. But what are we looking at here? It looks like a pine cone.
It looks like a pine cone with wings and an ass cut and one eye, and a little torch at the top.
Yeah. Well, in case you were wondering where Deep Ellum Brewing Company is located, it is located at 2823 St. Louis Street, Dallas, Texas, 75226. You can visit deepellumbrewing.com. We're very grateful for the ability to rate and review these beers. Thank you, Deep Ellum. You guys have produced some great stuff for us. So are you ready for all those ASMRs out there?
No more foam on the mic.
Ooh,
that was a good one.
You had a good little pop
that was
there.
a good one.
All right, you ready? Pinkies.
Pinkies up.
I can see it right off the bat. You might not be the biggest fan of that one.
And I don't know. That was a little bitter.
It's very thick.
It's thicker than like a regular beer. And maybe I'm just a pussy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's about how I remember it. But I thoroughly like Deep Ellum IPA. Okay. It was definitely one of the first IPAs that I ever tried as like a 21-year-old. A 21-year-old. 21-year-old. 2 beers is not responsible for any underage drinking or drinking and driving. Drink responsibly. 21 and up.
Please.
Absolutely. I thoroughly enjoy it. If I were to give it like a true rating, like being unbiased, I think I like the Dallas Blonde more. I'm going to give it a 3.8. We're doing average scores here.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a 3.8.
I'll give this one a 2.25.
Okay. So we about average out at about, what did I said
you said a 3.5.
3.5. 3.8, somewhere around there. We'll average it out to a 3.
Right.
We'll say it's just a solid 3. So again, thank you, Deep Ellum. That will conclude, at least for now, the canned beer series. I know that in the future we will definitely be visiting Deep Ellum Brewery, and
doing a live tasting.
Yeah, whether it's sponsored by them or not, we're gonna go in there and try to take a swig of maybe some of their taproom stuff.
Just straight from the draft, maybe even.
Yeah, I mean, give me the suicide cocktail, what we used to do with all the sodas. We'll do that with the beers. So one time, let me tell you the story real quick.
Go ahead.
We were in I was at work in like Kentucky, and we're in a hotel across the street from a Chili's. And so we walked in, me and my coworker, and we walked in and we sat at the bar and we ate and we watched some, I want to say it was some football games or basketball games or something. And we had drank a little bit, and the bartender was like, we had, struck up some conversation with her, we were trying to be friendly.
Right.
And she was about to close down, and she offered a challenge where it was like, if you will take a shot of all the liquid on the beer mat, she would pay for our food and drink for the night.
Beer mat?
And so I was like, I think we had eaten like these, I don't even remember, like these $15 meals along with like 3 or 4 beers. I mean, I think my tab was probably like around like 35 or 40.
Yeah.
And I was like, one shot of the mat shot, one shot of the mat beer just poured into the shot glass for a $40 tab. I said, bring it on.
That's
I downed it.
Gross.
And free.
That's so gross.
Free food or drink for the whole night. It was real nice party there. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
That was good. But, free food.
Fair.
So,
I mean, as college kids, we were really willing to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
That's
which
fair.
I'm sure the beer mat led to some questionable bathroom experiences afterwards, but
dude. All right, so have you ever had just like the worst bathroom experience? You know what I'm saying? Like just like straight up nasty.
I have one that I would love to save after you tell me yours, because I think mine will trump all bathroom experiences. So I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one, and
That's fair.
You started off.
Man, all right. So I was 9 years old, and we were skiing in Colorado with my family. Okay. And there were probably 20 of us there. we were all up on the mountain. We were running down our last slope for the day. And at that point, I think it was my first day snowboarding, or my first time snowboarding. And so still fairly new to it or whatnot. But I end up going down the slope with all my family on the last day. The days before, we were all in ski school and everything, you know. So on this last day, we're coming down the slope. It's probably about 4 or 5 o'clock. So slopes are getting ready to close down. It's going to get dark here soon. And I'm going down with my dad and my cousin Barton. And next thing I know, I just get this overwhelming feeling in my bowels.
Oh, dear.
I get a massive bowel movement, man. And I'm like, Dad, like, I got to go. And he's like, right now? And I'm like, dude, like right now. And he's like, okay. So he's like, you want to race? And I think he knew how bad I had to go. So we raced our sorry tails down that mountain. And sure enough, we get our boots off and everything. Well, hell, we have a 30-minute drive back with the van that took us in from the hotel. And so I'm sitting on there just twiddling my thumbs and freaking crossing my legs, doing everything in me not to just let out a fart right now. Because, you know, sometimes you think you just turtle head it and it seeps out.
It just releases.
Yeah, it turns into like a nasty just mess.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're driving, right, and I'm sweating bullets at this point. And we get off the freaking van and I'm sprinting inside to the hotel. I'm running down the sidewalk and I slip on the freaking sidewalk and bust my head. And those little bricks that they have on the edge of a flower garden.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of like they're wavy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hit my head on that mug right there. And I got up. I was like, oh, that hurt. And I still had that feeling that I had to poop. And so I got up real quick. And right as I'm opening the door into the toilet of like the lobby toilet, I start shitting in my pants, and it's not like solid, and so I'm trying to like get my pants down as I'm shitting, and it ends up just being a little bit projectiled. And so I look over as I'm sitting on the toilet finishing my shit, and it's just kind of like a little walkway of where it led to the toilet. I'm just freaking sitting on the toilet, man. I'm like, oh, this is bad.
Just a brown snout trout?
Oh, just brown snout trout, dude. I tell you what, man, it was the nastiest thing. I was sitting there for 15 minutes trying to clean it up after I'd gotten done. And I hear my dad and my cousin Annalisa knocking on the door. And they're like, you okay? I said, no. Absolutely no, not. We're bad. We're not doing good. And sure enough, you know, I'm 9 at the time. So I asked my dad for help. I'm like, Dad, can you help me? So sure enough, my poor dad comes in there, just shits galore everywhere. And he's kind, man. He helped me clean it up. I think he wiped my ass even a little bit. But it was, dude, I will never forget that day. I haven't had anything quite that embarrassing or just bowel moving.
I feel you. Well, that's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
But as at least, so here's what I'll say: the difference between your story and my story is at least you have a crutch to use in the fact that you were 9. So here
we're
here
about
we go.
To hear a recent story.
Yeah. So okay, so I was second year of college. This is what I know. I was second year of college, so I'm probably 20 years old, I think, at the time. And I went to this
Were you at SWAT
festival. Yes.
Okay.
And so I took a weekend and I went down to visit. I had a lot of friends that went to Texas A&M, and there's a music festival called Chili Fest.
Yeah.
And so we went down there for Chili Fest, and you know, it was just like a weekend of drinking and like listening to like these awesome bands and all that type of stuff. It was a great time. Right. So, you know, my buddy Sam, his fraternity had like what was called like a build. So it's like a section that you, like, if you bought your ticket to Chili Fest through their fraternity, you got a wristband. And so I think it was like $120 to get the ticket, but that was a 2-day ticket, and it included free food and free beer in this build. And I think they had said like they had bought or they had like $20,000 worth of beer, just stacked up in this like wooden storage thing that they were just throwing into like basically a horse or a pig trough full of ice and stuff. And so like you could just run in there, grab whatever you wanted whenever you wanted it. You know, the whole thing.
Good.
So, you know, at this point, you know, I think we're talking like, you know, we'd been there a minute. I was lit. And so I had like a beer in my back pocket. I think like, okay, so the point of it was like to dress as ugly as possible, right? So I had some cut off jorts and a cut off like you know those like brown and yellow color like pearl snaps or whatever, but they're not like those nice ones, but they're like the ones you can find at like Goodwill or whatever. So I'd cut the sleeves off those.
Okay.
And so they had like 2 frockets. So I had a beer in a frocket,
Right.
Then I had some in my back pockets, right? And so I go to the bathroom, which there's like 50 to 100 porta potties lined up, right? Just all up in a row. And
community shitting.
Yeah. And there's lines to every single one. And so I pulled up, you know, to one, and you know, I dropped my pants and I was peeing. That's all I had to do, and then I got out. And so I'm walking out and whatever. And I walk back to the build and I feel around for my phone, can't find it. I had heard while I was in the bathroom, you know, I'm like barely functioning as my mind or whatever. And so I thought that when I like pulled down my pants to pee or whatever, a beer had fallen out of my back pocket and fallen into the porta potty because I had heard like a thunk, right? And I couldn't find my phone.
You didn't go diving. Don't tell me.
And so I go back to the porta potty. I found the right one. Had to stick my hand down in the, because it's your phone. You're a 20-year-old. You're there for the weekend.
Yeah.
You have to get back home.
And at this point, iPhones are made waterproof for this specific reason.
Oh, it worked, and I sold it. But so I'm digging in there. It's the grossest experience of my life. Ended up finding it, pulled it out. As soon as I got out, I had like 3 beers on me, like in my back pockets or whatever. Like just cleaned it off as much as I could in the sink or whatever that was in there, and then I doused my arm because I was thinking alcohol, like it'll fix it or whatever. So I doused my arm in like Red's Apple Ale, Miller Lite, and Busch Light, just like to clean off every 30 people's worth of crap that had built up on my arm. And I had my phone on me and we cleaned it up. And luckily, like another friend that I had there had like a fanny pack with like hand sanitizer. And I said, I need the whole thing. And I grabbed the whole thing and I just started sanitizing my arm. And
dude, that's freaking awful, man. That's like every little league baseballer's worst nightmare right there. Having to stick your hand in the porta potty. Dude, you can pay me enough money to do that.
But like, I'm thinking if it's anything else, I mean, if it's a wallet, it's a phone's replaceable.
I'd do it for my wallet.
But my phone, like, okay, I understand like an ID, that'd be hard to replace, but like you have all your cards, those can be replaced. But I'm thinking, I'm 20.
Right.
I'm at this event or whatever for at least a day and a half.
Yeah.
I need to be able to talk to some people, communicate with some people,
at least let them know where you're at. And
exactly.
Like
and so I'm like, and then I'm thinking also, I mean, I probably didn't think this far ahead, but I'm like, I also have to get home and I have to use maps, and I can't, like, at the time I'm driving like an 05 Jeep Grand Cherokee. So it doesn't have built-in maps or navigation or anything like that. Like I'm rocking my phone on a freaking, suction cup tripod or whatever.
Exactly.
Using that.
Good old days.
So it was a necessity to go diving. I don't think there was any way around it. But yeah,
that's so gross.
That would be my worst bathroom experience.
Oh, especially at like a convention, like, how many people got the beer shits from that?
Yep. Which might have made it the easiest because maybe it wasn't caked on my arm. It just kind of slid right off. It was easier to retrieve because it wasn't as thick and
gelatin.
Granted, the phone might have just stuck on the top and I could have just grabbed it.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an experience, is what I'll say.
God, that's worse. That's not what I was expecting you to say at all.
Nope. And then later that weekend, I actually fell asleep in one of them because you sit down, and the key is you never like want to take a crap while you're drunk at a festival because I slept in a porta potty for at least 3 hours, and I got like I remember going in at daylight, and I remember coming out, and it was the last act of the night. I ended up finding a friend, and like we ended up like getting back home or back to where we were staying, and it was insane.
I couldn't do festivals, man. I'd get lost. I'm terrible with directions as it is. There's no shot. No shot at all. Good Lord.
But well, how about we transition into something a little more cleaner? How about we'll transition?
I feel like I need to sanitize myself.
You might. I need to. I mean, that memory will forever be ingrained in my brain.
Mm-hmm. I shake your hand.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you need to wash it. There's some diseases still crawling around on there.
Fair.
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16.
Insane. Stone and I's predictions on the last episode were just kicked right out the door.
Awful.
I think we might have gotten like three out of 8.
I know nothing about basketball.
My Final Four prediction, no one's even in it anymore. That's the great part about March Madness, I would say. So the Sweet 16 kind of, we'll go over some of the games, give them a little quick recap. Bama versus San Diego State. San Diego State won 71-64. It was back and forth first half. San Diego State, ended up being up 5 at half. They looked very, very, very impressive. Bama had a really hot start to the second half, and they ended up going up 9 or 8, and it looked like, all right, SDSU, you might be in some trouble. But then they came back looking electric, pulled out a victory. They had never beaten a 1 seed ever in their years of playing, so that was huge. So SDSU coming out with a victory there. Gonzaga versus UCLA.
It was their first time going to the Elite 8 too, I think.
SDSU.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah, it was their first time going to the Elite 8. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then you had Gonzaga versus UCLA. Obviously, Drew Timme, he carried that game. He had 36 points.
Timmy two-step.
That's right. Julian Strother hit the clutch 3 at the end. Pretty far 3. It was at least a 30-footer to win the game for the Zags. So, they ended up beating UCLA. FAU versus Tennessee, something that I never would have guessed was 9 seed facing a 4 seed and coming out with a pretty good victory. They showed everyone that they should be, FAU showed everyone that they needed more respect.
Yeah. They belonged in the tournament.
Which truly, I mean, if you really look at it, they have the most wins currently with being in the NCAA tournament. They have the most wins out of all the teams right now. I think they're 35-3 or something like that on the season.
Dang.
So Tennessee jumped out to an early lead. They had a very, very large size factor, so they were a lot bigger than FAU. FAU's guards, though, just were so quick and they're so athletic. So, they just showed more effort, it seemed. When I watched the game, Tennessee, I think, came in thinking they were going to
going to body them,
handle it pretty easily, and they ended up jumping out to a 10-point lead with 6 minutes left and just kind of carrying their victory there. Miami played Houston. Miami handled Houston with ease and just moved on. I mean, Houston did not look like that 1 seed that they were. Right. Miami showed that they belong where they belong, and it was impressive watching them play. Texas versus Xavier. Texas was up 17.5, so they came out strong, kind of cruised to victory there. Mm-hmm. They won 83-71. UConn versus Arkansas. UConn absolutely dominated Arkansas. Pulled up with a 17-point first. I know.
Pigs are out.
They pulled up to a 17-point lead going into the half. Ended up winning by 23. Then you had K-State versus Michigan State. Really, really good game.
That was a great game.
Keontae Johnson had 22. They won in overtime. Marquise Noel had 19 assists and 20 points. Dude kind of balled out there. He's their point guard.
Also got injured.
Yeah.
That was the game that he got injured. Ankle injury, right?
Yes. And I think he came back, and he just, when I saw 19 assists, I was like, holy crap, this dude is just going crazy. Under bettors, sorry. 98-93. I think the over-under was around 156 or something like that, and they ended up hitting that with 7 minutes left in regulation. So if you were an under better, sorry about it. Mm-hmm. K-State had a chance to win at the buzzer. They just couldn't connect. They had a layup that kind of just bounced off the backboard, didn't end up going in. But then, Noel and Johnson, they led them to that overtime victory. Creighton played Princeton. beat them by 11. Princeton played a great game, but Creighton's size and athleticism,
they were just so much bigger, bodied them.
At some time or at some point, they were gonna like show their, that they weren't just big enough. So that ended up costing them. And then that brings us to the Elite Eight games.
Yeah.
You had FAU versus K-State. FAU won by 3. Their guards were crazy. They're just crazy athletic. They had the first step on every single one of K-State's guards. It just looked like they were quicker. They were faster. They were more athletic. I think their athleticism is really carrying them right now.
They just wanted it more.
Yeah, because they're showing a lot of heart for a 9 seed.
Right.
It was a very competitive first half. FAU was leading by 4 at half. And then the second half, man, no one missed. It was just like shot after shot after shot after shot.
Nice.
FAU was up 3 with 6 seconds to go, and K-State couldn't even get a shot off. They didn't even get an attempt to tie.
Dang.
Ended up getting the ball stolen, and that was the game there. UConn versus Gonzaga. UConn came out and proved in their Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games that they are the best team on the board right now. Because they beat Gonzaga by 28.
That's crazy to me.
It was close early too. I mean, this was like a complete second half like disaster for Gonzaga because UConn was only up 7, and the only reason they were up 7 was because they hit UConn hit a 3 with like 2 seconds left in the second half or in the first half. So they weren't even like truly. They weren't even truly like up a ton, and then they ended up being up 32 with like 7 minutes left in the game. Going crazy there. So that was insane. San Diego State beat Creighton by 1 point. Creighton looked like the overall better team early, but they went on a 3-minute stretch in the last 5 minutes of the first half without scoring, but they ended up leading by 5 at halftime. I think they could have ended that first half stronger, and that might have led them to a victory.
Yeah.
They definitely had a very competitive second half. It ended up being tied at the last possession. It came down to a questionable foul. So the whole game, they never really called a lot of penalties. And all of a sudden, at the very end, they kind of showed, the defender had his hand on a hip. The guy ended up falling down. I think he sold it really well. I think it's not a call. It's just not a call I think you make in the NCAA tournament in an Elite Eight game at the buzzer. And so they didn't even really give Creighton a chance or not Creighton. They didn't even give Creighton a chance. They called that foul. The guy ended up sinking one of the 2 free throws. And then at the end of regulation, they ended up claiming that there was no time left on the clock. And so Creighton didn't even get a chance to inbound the ball and do anything. So it was kind of one of those like questionable referee decisions where I think Creighton's going to be like, we got screwed there.
Dang.
And then we had Miami versus Texas. Miami ended up winning 88-81. Very, very competitive first half. Texas led by 8 actually at the half. They actually jumped up to a 13-point lead about 5-6 minutes into the second half. They maintained like an 8 to 12-point lead until 8 minutes left. So it was their game to win, and they ended up going to a scoring drought. Miami went on a 13-2 run to go up 1 with 5 minutes left. Miami got to the free throw line more than twice as much as Texas did in the second half. I think they ended up shooting like at least 20 free throws in the second half. So that killed Texas. They were sinking them too. They were taking their opportunities. I know we had talked about that on the last podcast, that free throws win and lose games. And it definitely won it for them. It was a great high scoring game. Miami hit a ton of tough shots. I think that's the one thing that's going to maybe differentiate them in the Final Four is they were hitting a lot of shots that I was like, those don't typically go in.
Yeah.
But they were hitting them.
Yeah.
A lot of like fadeaway shots, a lot of falling down shots, a lot of banking off the backboard shots.
Right. Playground shots.
Yeah. Just stuff that like, I think, someone was on their side up in the, just letting them fall.
Right.
So they ended up pulling away to win by 7 and go to their first Final Four. So
good for them.
Very, very awesome Sweet 16. Very awesome Elite 8. I think, no one expected the Final Four that we have. I mean, this year has been hectic.
Yeah.
And that's why I love March Madness. And I think
That's
year,
how it's been the past few years, for sure.
Yeah.
Just you kind of go into it not knowing what to expect, and it makes it fun. It makes March Madness fun to be a part of, fun to watch, and everything like that. So I definitely like the theme that's kind of involved in March Madness and all that it entails.
And I think like just the fact that it brings all these different teams with all these different play styles, all these different kind of
sizes,
players, and just there's trillions of different ways that people can match up. I mean, you could have a team that's a 16 seed like Farley Dickinson, and they're matched up against Purdue. Well, if they're matched up against Bama, if they're matched up against any of the Houston or who's the other one seed that got kicked out in the round of 32. I can't remember who the other one seed was. Purdue, Houston.
Duke wasn't one seed, were they? They were two.
No, they were like a 5 or something. Anyway, just to have them beat Purdue, I think they were matched up against that team, and they obviously pulled something off that no one expected, but they still pulled it off.
Yeah, they don't make those matchups intending for the underdog to win. That's for sure.
No, and it's just you just have these great matchups no matter who it is. I mean, really, in all honesty, I mean, we're talking. We have a 9 FAU team playing a number 5 SD, San Diego State team. We have a 5 Miami team playing a 4 UConn team. I think UConn, if I were to guess, is going to pull away with it. They look like the most impressive. I'm hoping for a FAU versus UConn game. I think that'll match up well with the athleticism, the big men.
Yeah.
FAU, I think winning it all would be awesome. They look, they're the true underdog right now.
Yeah.
I think everyone's counting them out. I think San Diego State is the second most impressive, but I would love to see a UConn versus FAU. Final Four.
Yeah.
Who do you have out of those 4 winning it all?
Man, I'm probably gonna go UConn just because they've been in a similar situation before. They like you said earlier, FAU, this is their first time to the Elite Eight. This is going to be the first time if they make it to the championship. And is it San Diego State's first time as well, or no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, you've got a bunch of first timers in there.
Miami, FAU, and San Diego State. I believe it's their first time in the Final
Right.
Four,
So how are they going to be under the big lights whenever they come on? So that I think that'll play a big factor in it as well. How will the pressure play a factor and all the members of the team and everything like that, So because they're going to feel it whenever they step out onto that championship floor and they're like, oh, we're about to play for it.
Yeah,
this is it.
It's just a different environment, and UConn's been so dominant lately, and obviously I think their last title, I know they haven't been pretty relevant in the past few years, but their last title I think came in 2014 when they beat Kentucky. And so, they have at least some familiarity. Maybe not the players,
not
but
the players,
team.
but the coach.
Yeah.
Or has the coach been there the same?
I don't think so, but still, I mean, there's got to be people on the staff.
Yeah.
There's got to be people, in that, in that locker room, someone that has the expertise. Back from 9 years ago.
And maybe I'm speaking out of pocket. Maybe they're still feeling out their fresh legs in the big lights as well.
Definitely.
So.
Definitely.
It'll be interesting to see. So I'm excited. They'll play Saturday.
Yeah, they play Saturday. Final Four is Saturday. The championship game is Monday, so we will be recording Tuesday so that we can get a full recap of all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And then hopefully I would love to actually, if we could try to plan getting into maybe one of the breweries to watch maybe the championship or one of the Final Four games, if we can maybe try to get something like that planned. That'd be a fun time.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, we are going to transition on over to, we have a very fun little draft list for everyone today. We're going to talk about the top 3 fit checks for dads.
Yeah.
The typical dad wear.
Yeah.
We definitely want you to comment down below if we missed anything.
Everything dad.
But yeah, we have a top 3 draft list here, and we will be posting this on our Instagram, each of our lists, and we'll get hopefully you guys to vote. The people that follow us out there, we'll get you to vote on which list you like the best, and we will just be going forward from there. But yeah, definitely comment down below what you think we've missed, or what you think should rank higher on dad fit checks. So I'll let you take the floor though. Why don't you give me your number 3, because I know we have different lists, so we'll work our way up. We'll not start with number 3, work our way to number 1. Who's your number 3?
Right. Okay. So, man, it always just makes me cringe a little bit whenever I see a dad with and I'm kind of, going against my own word by saying this or by wearing this hat now, but seeing just like a tan strap back hat, not a snapback, but a strap back.
Yeah.
And just like pulled all the way down like this, like the sun is just gonna sneak right underneath any crack and crevice that's in between their eyes and this little bill right here.
If they need any kind of adjustment, you just hear that nice
yeah.
of that Velcro.
Oh, the Velcro. Oh, yeah. That's even worse, man. I didn't even think about that. The Velcro that gets stuck in your hair and everything. My dad used to wear those Velcro visors too.
Oh yeah. Oh, those are swagging,
dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good number 3 for sure. My number 3 will be what I see a lot on planes, and I see a lot more recently. Those dads that just they try to exemplify, I'm like the little league coach, or I'm living my glory days throughout my kids.
Vicariously through them.
They're always rocking Under Armour, man. Whether it be the Under Armour shoes, the Under Armour pants, the Under Armour shirts. I mean, if you are a sports dad, you are rocking Under Armour no matter what. That is y'all's brand. You've
for sure
chopped it,
Whether it's polos, t-shirts, tracksuits,
yes,
shoes,
they go head to toe. I mean, I see them on planes all the time. They're wearing their comfy fits, man. It's those dads that hit the gym, after their marketing meetings.
And they always wear the one size fits all cap.
Oh yeah.
Never a strap back.
No, that one's just one size fits most.
Yeah. A lot of times they're bald too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the tracksuits. Just hairless.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's all they want.
Yep.
So who you got for number 2?
For number 2, I'm going to have to go with cargo shorts below the knee, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't say that I didn't used to wear cargo shorts, but below the knee, that's just a new level of like, you're a pedophile. Or it's just I don't like cargo shorts below the knee, man. It's tough. It's tough on me.
It's just I think they look like capris even.
Yeah,
like at
exactly.
some point they're like trying to rock these. I can't imagine the mobility. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'd hate walking around knowing, and like, what if you had to like,
especially with the little straps on that come out right there. Those things are nasty that you can tighten or zip up. Those things are so gross.
Yeah, and then every time they ever take a knee or something, it just pulls their shorts down. So you see that nice dad plumber crack rocking with those nice,
dude,
heavy 25 pocket cargo shorts.
And the Under Armour shirt.
Well, typically, yeah. My number 2 has gotta be. It's kind of like a combo deal. So it's plain white shirts or wife beaters that they wear under their main shirt because it keeps you cool.
Always.
It keeps you cool. And then it's always their main shirt, whether or not they're out, whether they're wearing their tracksuit or their cargo shorts, it's always tucked in.
Always.
Tucked in with the $10 belt that they got from
Walmart,
Target. or Atwoods.
Oh yeah.
Or Tractor Supply Company. It's that $10 belt that's sitting on the rack they've worn for 25 years, created their own holes with their pocket knives.
I've done it.
Just it's always tucked in, and it's always their reasoning before it is it keeps you cool.
I think it keeps that fupa a little a little higher.
Keeps a little higher.
Yeah, that muffin top isn't as bloated over. My dad did that ever since I was young, man. always wore that T-shirt underneath.
Hey man,
So
he's cool.
yeah, it does keep you cool apparently.
Cool. What's your number one?
All right, but number one, and this is, oh dude, the most cringy shirt a dad could wear. I say the most cringy, like we're judging cringy shirts, but just the most dad fit is like an old school Affliction shirt.
Oh yeah.
Just a black Affliction shirt with white and gray accents. Oh, dude.
Affliction American Fighter.
Oh, yeah. You know those dudes wear Oakleys and tap out and cargo shorts.
If you wear an Affliction shirt, I think you go home and you and your wife have boxing matches.
Oh, for sure.
On the daily.
Yeah, as Theo Vaughn said, that bro's going home to punch.
Yeah, that bro goes home. He either he
drinks a monster.
He gets his giant, not just the regular monster, but the one with the one that looks like a screw top lid. Yeah. and then they get their they drink a Modelo.
Yep.
And then they just get
their box on.
They
go at it.
Yeah,
I think it turns them on though.
I think so too.
That's okay.
But yeah.
What's your number one?
Shirts, they at least breathable.
Yeah. Oh, no joke. They are breathable. They used to be big though.
You can see I
don't know what happened to the brand.
Every square inch of everything on those because they're like the thinnest shirts ever made.
Oh yeah. You see your nipple a mile away.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
My number one has got to be the Nike Air Monarchs, and not just the Air Monarchs, but the signature Air Monarchs with the white whatever.
Yeah.
And then with the blue Nike label, it's got those hints of gray. Those Pete Carroll, I call them the dad at the backyard barbecue 4s. They're always rocking those Nike Monarchs because why?
Absolutely.
They can walk into an academy and they're $39.99, and a dad always goes, well, that's a good deal.
What a deal.
What a deal. Let me grab 3.
Exactly. Give the other 2 a break while I wear one.
One's perfectly white for, church. Social events.
Yeah.
One is, it's the one they wear on the daily. And then the other one is their lawn mowing pair, which is just
green.
Totally green, totally dyed green. But
so gross.
Yeah.
That's a good one though.
So that's
my dad had a pair similar to those. They were just the New Balance style.
There you go. Same. They look like the same thing.
Yeah.
They definitely ripped each other off.
I think he did all 3 in those. I think he went to church and did work in the yard and what was the other one you said?
Mowed the lawn. Mowed the lawn.
Mowed the lawn. Yeah. So I think he did all 3, man. Those shoes had their days.
Some honorable mentions out there. I said some, I thought Sanooks.
Oh, yeah.
Those. What else you got for honorable mentions?
You said Hey Dudes as well, but Hey Dudes are sort of...
They're making it definitely more popular. I see a lot of young guys wearing Hey Dudes now. But I think what I was thinking of was Sanooks. Because they kind of had that kind of style before.
Yeah, the open back Sanooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crocs. I rock some Crocs. I don't care.
I rock some Crocs.
I want some fleece line Crocs. I think
flip-flops.
Okay. So flip-flops or even tall white socks that aren't like, how you push them down a little bit so that they don't look fully stretched.
Yep.
They just fully stretch them suckers.
With
those thin white socks.
With Chacos. Socks and Chacos.
Socks and Chacos.
Oh, dude.
Or Tevas.
Socks and Tevas. That's what Pawpaw wears.
Running around with those cargo shorts tucked in with his
Tevas white shirt
and his fully pulled up white socks.
It's so bad. Sorry, Pawpaw.
Oh.
It's all good.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. That kind of wraps it up.
Yeah, it wraps it up here. This is 2 beers and a mic. Nice pod, man.
Yeah, nice pod.
See you
Appreciate
later.
it. See you guys.